All right, welcome to today's workout. Today, all you will need is a band, some space. If you are working on a mat, that's great. If you're also working on a carpet, that works well too. You can certainly be barefoot. I would say if you're in socks, slip your socks off. You want to have a nice grip on the ground. And I would love for you to have a wall close by because we are going to use the wall as well. So to get warmed up, we're going to take our band, we're going to slide it just above the ankles so you can step into it. Feel free to hold on to a wall if you need to help yourself into the band. So the band is right above the ankles, not on the ankles, but just slightly above. And I'll show you a couple different directions as we get moving. It doesn't mean you need to turn or change directions, but I'm just going to show you different visuals. So our first movement is a lateral band walk. We're going to fold at the hips here. Okay, so your bum is back, but your spine is long. So that means your shoulders are going to stay back. We're taking small steps over to the side. So let's take 4 in one direction, and then we're going to take 4 the other way. So we're stepping into the heel, and I'll show you what that looks like this way. So just join me when you're ready. Notice we're not letting the band actually slack, right? If you have your feet touch, you're going to lose resistance on that band. So you want to keep some resistance. Even as you step in, there's distance between the feet. So 4 steps one way, 4 steps the other. And you're really thinking about pressing into the heel. Outside edge of the foot is heavy. So you're stepping on the pinky toe edge here. Okay, now check in. Are you standing up, or can you come back to that hip fold? Right, so we do want to get that hinge from the hips, stepping side to side. This is where we start to wake up here. So we're waking up through the glutes and the outside of the legs. So strong core here, long spine. That tension's starting to build, but it's good. Step, step. And go back the other way. Keep pushing your bum back behind, right? So we're not standing up, we're not squatting down, but we're folded at the hip. There is a little bend in the knees, but it's much more about the hips going back. Breathe. Give me 4 more. You got 3. 2 more full steps. And last one, 4 steps back. And release. Okay. We're going to slide the band now above the knees. Our glutes are nice and active. Outside of the legs are active. So this is not on the knees. It's slightly above. You want your feet about hip width. We don't want to go wide with the stance because we want to be able to push the knees out wider than the feet. So feet about hip width. Sit down and back into your squat. You stay there. I'll show you what that looks like from the side. So we're sitting back now in the hips and bending the knees. Okay, we're going to press the knees out. Notice how my big toes are lifting up. So you can press the knees and kind of roll to the outer edge of your feet a little bit, not fully, but a little bit to get more pressure into the band. Squat down a little lower, stand back up. So we come down, we press that band out, and we come back up. Go at your own pace. Focus on control so you get some strong depth. You take your time with it, pressing out on the band and coming all the way up. Keep going. Pay attention to your hips. We're not squatting down in the knees. We're sitting back in the hips. So when you do that, the balls of your feet stay heavy. Sometimes we hear, like in a squat, your heel's heavy, your heel's heavy, and we never want to feel like we're about to fall back. That's why we want, yes, the heel's heavy, but you also want the balls of your feet heavy. So you come down, press the knees out, and come up. So your weight is really centered between the heel and the ball of the foot. Pressing knees out every time, not rushing through our reps. Good, stay with it. Getting nice and low. Can you increase that depth a little bit? Yeah, challenging ourselves. One more like this. Okay, come back down, but pay attention to the feet, right? We still want the feet pretty close together, not touching, but hip distance. So come on back down. We're gonna stay in our squat and just press the knees wide. So just that rotation outwards. The knees never touch, so we're not coming in. We're going out and then hip distance. Out wide, hip distance. Keep going. Your bum is way back, so pay attention. We're not here, right? We're sitting back. Back. Hips stay stationary as the knees press wide. We've got 8. Sit a little lower. 7. This should be hard. 6. Even lower. Let's go. 4 more. 3. 2. Press out wide. Hold. Sit down. Good. Slowly stand it up. We're going to keep pressing out on that band. We're going to pulse at the bottom. So bring it down. Hips are back behind you. Press the band out and pulse in the hips. You keep going. Just showing you I'm not pulsing from the knees, pulsing from the hips. So the hips are moving up and down. Hips back, back. Balls of your feet are heavy. Heels are heavy. Knees are pressing out wide. Give me 8. This is it. 7, 6. Keep pressing knees wide. Pinky toe edge of your feet is heavy. For 3, 2, 1. Stand it up. Shake your legs out. You can let that band slip off. You can just shimmy it right off and take it off to the side for now. We are going to move into some stationary lunges. So working with holding a balance support. So if you have foam roller, chair, wall, I'm going to be using a wall today. We want to use the balance support for support, but we're not relying on it, okay? So grab a sip of water if you need to. We're going to start with, doesn't really matter which leg. I'm going to do my right, so you can mirror me and do your left if you'd like. When we take our split stance, I'll just show you here, we are not going one behind the other. We're actually taking a little bit of a wider step. So think of it like train tracks instead of a tightrope, okay? So you've got a good amount of distance width-wise. And we do want to take a fairly big step back. Even though I've got short legs, I'm taking a pretty significant step back. Okay, so with this front leg, we're going to bend into both knees and just get a feel for the lunge first. We're coming down and up. So this hand, I know I just put it on the thigh. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep our hand off the thigh. And start to increase that depth. So your back knee comes down nice and low. What we're going to do in our lunge really gets to work through the whole leg, but we are going to focus a little bit more on the glutes in our lunge today. So just give me 3 more wherever you are. Pulling your hip back a little bit. Okay, we're going to stay in this lunge, but we're going to add on. So we're going to fold at the hips. The spine stays long, but see how I'm leaning forward a little bit more? Now, as I lean forward and lunge down, I'm sending this hip back. So I've got my right leg forward. I'm sending my right bum back. Bring it all the way up. We're going to do that again. So fold at the hip, come down, and come back up. Now, when you look down at your front foot, you should be able to see your toes because we're sitting so far back in the bum that your knee is not coming over your toes, right? We're sitting back instead. Keep going. Right? You can hold on the same side as that leg. If that works better, it doesn't matter. The balance support can work either side, whatever's more comfortable for you. So let's keep that nice, slow, controlled pace. We're pulling the hip back, driving through the front heel to come up. So your front heel always stays heavy on the ground. It never lifts up because we're pushing into that front heel to give us a little extra work through the glutes. Okay, we've got 2 more like this. On your next one, we are gonna hold it down. So hold that lunge, stay there. I'm gonna show you from the side, just as a reminder. We are leaning forward, pulling the hip back. So the back knee is bent, but we're really sitting into this front leg. Back leg is actually pretty light. Most of your body weight is here in your front leg. We're gonna stay down there and hold, just press into that front heel. Strong core here. Can you sink a little bit lower? Holding for 5, 4, 3, come a little lower, 2, and 1. Stand all the way up. Give that leg a little shake. We're gonna go into the other side. So I'm gonna switch sides so that I'm holding on with the same side as my front leg, a little bit preferred for me personally. Remember, we are train tracks, okay? We're sitting back now on this hip. So let's just start with some basic lunges, feel it out first, and then we'll really get into that hip hinge focus. You keep going. Just a little reminder, we want to be moving up and down, but keeping that front heel heavy. Using the breath. Try to breathe in through your nose. You can exhale either way. In through the nose is great. Okay, give me 2 more, and then we're gonna find that glute biased lunge. Okay, you can stay where you are. I'm just showing you from the side. We're folding over at the hip. We're not rounding forward. Shoulders are back. We're dropping into the hip. So it's like you're trying to reach for a chair with your bottom, and that chair is just a little bit too far behind. So you got to stretch that hip back. This is where the balance tool really comes in handy, because it allows us to focus on sending the weight back without feeling unstable. Keep going, but as you come up, we're pressing into that front heel, so lots of resistance through the front leg, focusing on keeping the weight in your front leg, in your hamstrings, in your glutes. We've got 2 more like this, and we have that hold coming. Okay, on your next one, we hold it down. Just do your best. Hold at the hip, leaning forward. Our spine is long. Let's drop that back knee nice and low. Hold, breathe. We're still very light on our balance support. Holding for 4. Come a little lower if you can. 3. Spine is still long. 2. And 1. Bring it all the way up to the top. Give your legs a little shake. You can grab a little sip of water if you want to. And we're going to move on. So next, we're going to come down to the ground, but I am going to warn you, we are going to come back up. So we're doing some work on the ground. We'll come up to our feet, and then we've just got 2 more things on our feet. So short and sweet. You can bring your band to the ground with you. You don't need to use it, but you might find, as you continue to revisit this workout, you might find that it is a good way to add some challenge. If you are going to use the band, it goes above the knees, not on the knees. So it's actually on the thigh. I don't know if you can see here, but I'll just stand up to show you. So if you're doing your glute bridge, it's in the same position as it was when we had our squatted, our banded squat, I should say. So I'm going to take the band off just for now. So we're going to do hip bridges with our feet flat on the ground to start. So let's lay back. Now, if you want to have a pillow or a sweater or something rolled up under your head, that can be really helpful, so you're not feeling like your chin is up to the sky. Just a nice way to keep the chin tucked back of your neck long. So for your glute bridge, it's going to be subjective where your feet go. Ultimately, you want your feet to be in a position where your knees feel good at the top of the lift. So we're pressing the heels into the ground. We're going to press our arms into the ground as well. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, press the heels again and start to lift your hips and squeeze your bum up at the top. We're gonna slowly lower down just to a hover. We're not resting at the bottom. And we're coming back up to squeeze again. Slowly lower. Come on back up and squeeze. So we're inhaling on that lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale through the nose. You can exhale through the mouth. Keep going at your own pace. Now, for anyone, like if you find that your low back starts to take over in this, what you can do is before you lift, you kind of tuck your pelvis under. So you're scooping, pressing your low back into the ground. And then you can lift your hips up from there. That helps to keep a longer low back position and a bit more of length and activation in through the glutes. Remember, we're not resting at the bottom. It's just a little hover. Then we press the heels to lift. Keep going at your pace. Keep going, but as you come up to the top, now let's focus on pressing out on the knees. So we're going up with the hips, and at the top, the knees go out wide a little bit. So if you had a band, you would be pressing into that band. I'm just turning to the side to show you a different angle. So up and the knees go out. So similar to that squat we did with the knees pressing out, right? We can roll a bit to the outer edges of the feet, the pinky toe side. The inner arches of your feet can lift. Keep squeezing the glutes on that lift. Remember, there's no rest at the bottom. It's just a hover where you increase that time under tension. Same thing, but I want you to go a little faster. So we hover, we come up. So there's a little bit more power on the lift. Down, lift. Quick, explosive lift. If you find the knee press out is not quite comfortable, you can just take it out and go straight up and down, but we're still very strong through the heels. Keep going for 8. Squeeze at the top. 7, 6, all the way up for 4, 3, don't go anywhere. 2, we're going to hold it up to the top. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your bum, lift a little higher and pulse for 8, 7, pulsing hips straight up for 4, 3, 2, hold it up, squeeze your bum, and slowly come back down. You can very gently draw your knees side to side like windshield wipers. Take your time to come back up to your feet. So you can roll to one side or you can rock yourself up, however you want to get there. Okay, we've got 2 more things left to do. We've got a wall-supported calf raise, which looks easy, but the spice builds quite quickly. So wall-supported calf raise, and then we'll do a wall sit, and we'll be all done. So we are going to lean forward a little bit for our calf raise, and I'm lifting one foot here. So it doesn't really matter which side you do. You're going to do both. So we're leaning forward slightly. We're going to lift and lower. Now, I actually like to kind of tuck this leg behind and sort of use this as a little rest. So you're kind of leaning this foot into the leg, so your leg's not kind of flailing around. So we just kind of tuck, support the leg, just like around the ankle is good. And we're going to lift up and lower to a hover. So similar to our glute bridge, we're not resting at the bottom. We're lifting and hovering. Join me as soon as you can. We're not going to last here very long. We're going to do our best. Lift, lower, lift, lower. So get up as high as you can. Keep going. Woo, it's building. 8, 7, 6, 5. We're going to hold it up in 4, 3, 2, hold it up, hold it up. Can you take a tiny pulse at the top? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that go. You can kick your heel into the wall a little bit and then just kind of float your bottom back. It's a nice calf stretch. If you're not quite feeling it there, you can do the same thing but closer to you, so toes up to the sky and just fold at the hip. We're going to switch sides, doing the calf raises on the other side. Just give yourself another moment to stretch. And then we'll finish off with our wall sit. Okay, so let's go into the other side before we have regrets. So we lean forward slightly. We tuck the other leg behind. It's probably not going to feel so good on your calf, so you can slide it down lower around the ankle. We lift up and down. Join me as soon as you can. Up and down. Try to really peel up to those toes. Belly button in, strong core, even on our calf raises. Oh boy, building quick. We're close. 8 left. 8, 7, 6. Belly button in. We've got 3, 2. We're going to hold it up to the top. Tiny pulse if you can for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that go. Flex the foot up towards your face. Sit back in the hips. Yowza, right? I know. You can release that and then come back into it for another stretch. Okay, we are finishing with our wall sit. Now, wall sit, I'd love for you to stay as long as you can. So every person is going to be different with their wall sit in terms of how long you can stay. So you got to push yourself. And if you can stay longer than me, perfect. You just stay. If I come up, you can stay right there. But we want to find a position where we can get our, I'm actually going to move my mat a little bit just so I can have a nice sticky surface under my feet. But we want to have a 90-degree angle with our hips and our knees. So you want to slide your bottom down 90 degrees at the knees and 90 degrees at the hips. So we're just going to hold and we're going to do our best to stay as long as we can. So knees are about hip width. We are working through the quads, through the hamstrings, through the glutes, through the calves. Really a full body experience, and you have already done a lot of good work for your legs. So, you know, if you're doing a fresh wall sit without having done all the lunges and squats we just did, probably stay a little longer, right? But we're going to do our best here. So we're already in that wall sit. We've been here for about 20 seconds. We'll see how we do. You want to make it a little more challenging. Arms can come out in front or up overhead, but we got to keep our core strong. We're just hanging out, we're breathing. Good time to go to your happy place. Now, if I'm still in this wall sit and you need a break, you take a break, but you come back in. You just hang out with me as long as you can. Heels are pressing strong into the ground. Balls of your feet are heavy. Okay, we've been here for over a minute. Breathe. And the magic of things like this, the wall sit, when you think you're done, you probably have a little bit more left, right? So you do your best to stay in it. You're like, okay, I'm done. But can you stay for another 5 seconds? If you need that break, you take it. Come back in. Press heels heavy, balls of your feet heavy. You got this. Stay with it. Stay with it. We're only going to be here for another 20 seconds. If it feels easy, sink a little lower. Stay with it. 15, We've got 10. Stay in it. 5. You can do this. 3, 2, hands on the wall to help you up. Walk your feet in, give your legs a little shake. Give yourself a little pat on the back. You did it. Great work. Okay, so let's just cool it down with a little stretch. So we are going to take one foot in front, the other foot is going to be behind. I want you to press down on your back heel. So just like we did our lunge, if you want to take a wider stance, this is great. So let's get enough length that we can press down on the back heel and we feel a stretch through the lower leg. From here, we're going to tuck our pelvis under just a little bit. Lift that arm up. So the leg that is back, that's the arm we're lifting up to the sky. Let's lengthen up out of the hip, and then very gently take a side bend. But this is not about sending the hips over. We want to keep the hips relatively where they are. We're lifting up out of the torso and finding some space in a side bend. Take your time, bring it all the way back through center. We're going to switch the feet. So again, we've got some good distance here, as well as here, front to back. Press the back heel down. Let's take that arm up, lengthen, breathe in. And then as you exhale, we come up and over to the side. Not pushing the hip out. We're just lifting from the side body, ribs up. And take your time, bring it back through center. You can use a wall for this next one if you'd like. We're going to cross, so your left foot in front of your right. We're going to lift the left big toe, reach your left arm to the sky, and then push your hip out to get some length, not just through the side body, but down the outside of the hip and down the outside of the leg. So let's lengthen up on the inhale, and then we exhale to side bend. Remember that big toe is lifting up and most of your body weight is on your right leg. Stay there, take a deep breath. As you exhale, abs in. Slowly release, bring it all the way back up. You can turn around if you want to go to the other side. I'm going to switch the wall so we can hit the other side. We're crossing over. We're going to lift the inside of the foot. Inhale to lengthen up. And we exhale to side bend, opening up side body, side bum, down the outside of the leg. We take a deep breath in, lengthen a little more through the fingers. Exhale, abs in. And slowly come out of that. While we're over here on this side, we're going to take one foot in front. So ideally the outside leg, because then you can stabilize on your inside leg. We're going to flex this foot, right? So this is the flexed position where your toes are flexing back towards your knee. We're going to use the wall as support and we're sitting back and down into the hip. So I'll show you what this looks like from the side. I'm dropping into the hips. This allows us to stretch a bit more through the outer edge of the leg. And you can help yourself by pulling the thigh up, or sorry, the shin up if it's tracking down. And if you want to add a little bit, you can very gently press on the thigh. We're not pressing on the knee, but it's above the knee on the thigh to help open up. Take a deep breath. When you're ready, slowly come out of it. We're going to switch sides. So again, I'm going to switch the wall, but you can just turn around if you'd like. So we're going to stay on the inside leg, take the outside leg up. It comes above the knee. The foot is flexed back to the knee. We sit back. We help ourselves as we need to. My pants are kind of slippery, so I need to hold on to my shin. And then hand can come above the knee, pressing into the thigh for a little added, like a deeper stretch. Take a couple deep breaths. Slowly come out of it. You can use the wall for this, or you can freestand, feet are about hip width. We're just going to walk our hands down the thighs. We do want to keep our spine long-ish. We don't want to round before we need to So do your best to stick your bum behind you. You can bend your knees to help you get that position. So bend the knees, hips back, and then start to walk the hands down, feeling a stretch through the backs of the legs. And if you want, you can fold into more of a rounded position after that long spine. Slowly bring yourself up, walking your hands up the thighs with a strong core. Let's do that once more. If you are going to use the wall for support, you can stick your bum right on the wall. Your feet will come a little further in front. Make sure your feet don't feel slippery on your surface. Start to walk your hands down. This can give you a little bit more support to get that long stretch at the backs of the legs. Let's still try to keep the spine long first. And then we slowly fold into it, bending the knees to let the chest drop a bit more. Let your head drop and take a deep breath. Take another inhale. On your exhale, think about drawing core in and up, so strong through your abs. Start to walk your hands up your legs all the way to stand. All right, great work. That is it. That is all. You crushed it. I'll see you next time.